Okay, so I'm going to start pulling in images. The images I just download.
Professor?
Yeah.
Why are some of our names highlighted on the sign-in sheet?
Why is what?
Why are some of our names highlighted on the sign-in sheet?
The highlight means you gotta talk. So after the class, please, if your name is highlighted, we need to speak. So please come to me. We need to have a few words. All right. So I have my environment. I have 2 layers. So I can put objects or images between the 2. I can put something in front of the 2. I think I'm going to put the 2 characters I downloaded. I'm going to put the 2 fighters. I'm going to start with a guy. I'm going to put him into the environment. But I need to crop it first, right? I need to crop the background. And it's just going to take too long with the lasso tool. We have a better tool. We have a better tool to select the background. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the quick selection tool. It's up here, quick selection tool. It's based on the same concept. You have a brush. You can change the size of the brush. And it's sampling, and it's learning. So if you click once, it's going to select that area. But if you click next, it's going to add to it. And it's learning. It's learning. And you see, now it's selected the whole image except the feet. But if you hold on the Alt, it's the same as with the lasso tool. It's going to take away. I only need to select that. You know what? I have to start it again. So select the background, and I want to take away the guy. I only want to select the background. I only need to select the background. And if the brush is larger than the area you need to select, you just change the brush size. I go lower, and I can add to it. So what I'm doing now, I'm going to mask. I'm going to masking that fighter, that guy. Because I'm going to put it into my Photoshop file with the background. So quick selection tool. It's up here. And I keep changing the brush size. The shortcut for the quick selection tool is the W on the keyboard. That is another shortcut I think we should remember. I think there is only like 20 or 30 different shortcuts you should know if you're working with Photoshop on a regular base. Use it a lot. And for the sword, I think it's easier to use the lasso tool. Because the quick selection, the background and the sword is both gray. So Photoshop can take a decision what to select, the background or the sword. So for the sword, I'm just going to use the polygonal lasso tool. Hold on the shift, so I'm going to take away. And I'm going to pick the area I need. Okay, and I think I'm just going to hit a delete, and it's going to be transparent. Something happened here. I need to do some adjustments. Oh, thank you. All right, I got this guy here. Maybe in the hair, I need to do some changes. Yeah, I know I could add a layer mask, but today I just try to keep it very simple. I'm just going to use the lasso tool and I'm going to erase. Just use the erase command. So I select everything, and I need to smooth out the selection. It's kind of rough. If I'm going to select the background, I think the edges are too rough. So I'm going to go to select, and I'm going to go to select menu, and under the modify you can do different things. I'm going to smooth it out. Simple radius 1 pixel. So just going to make the lines a little bit smoother. So I'm going to delete on the keyboard. Alright, it's ready to pull it into the scene, to the environment. I go with the move tool, grab the layer, and just move it to the document. And I hold release. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit too tiny. So edit, free transform, or Control T. Control T. I'm going to change the size of this guy here. He's going to fight with another person. I'm going to fight with another person. So let me download the girl. You can use the same photos if it's easier for you, or you can just download your images. So I get the girl, and I need to mask it. I need to grab it. It's much easier if your image have a solid color background. It's much easier to make a selection. If you have trees and all kind of little tiny details behind, it's going to be much harder. You need to use a lasso tool. Here I can go with the quick selection tool, change the brush size a little bit higher, and just start painting. Okay, now you select the whole image, but don't worry, you hold on the Alt, and I'm going to take away the girl. And maybe I still have to do some adjustments with the lasso tool, but I saved so much time. I saved so much time with the quick selection tool. Just make it a little bit smaller, the brush. So try not to draw today. Try this. Try to do Photobash. The hair is hard, I know. We're going to have one day when we only deal with hair. I don't want to make you confused with different techniques. But in select and mask, it's another area. It's a big area. Don't go there today. I'm just quickly going to refine my image. You have tools to select the hair. I think one day we're going to have an assignment where we're just dealing with fur or hair. Okay. I'm going to delete. I'm just going to simply delete the background. Alright. So I use a move tool, grab the layer, and I'm going to move it to the composition. Control T, change the size. And here we go. I can start to... I'm going to add some textures on the two characters. Another thing I need to deal with is the light source. The light source, it looks like the light source is coming from outside. So the two characters inside should be darker. Need to be darker. So I'm going to change the black and white contrast on the two characters. Under the image adjustment levels, there are many different ways you can do that. I love the levels. It gives you that little tiny window with a lot of settings. It's very simple. You just need to grab these little sliders and you can change the black and white contrast on the image. So make them a little bit darker because they are inside. Do the same with the guy. So select the layer, image, adjustment, levels. I'm just going to make them darker. And I'm seeing that little reflex, that reflects light on the edges of the architecture. Because the light is coming from outside, so I'm going to try to add a glow effect. Select the layer, FX, and outer glow. Let me see if that helps. Maybe I will add the inner glow. So the inner glow is going to add a little light fade on the contour lines. So I'm trying to imitate that light is coming from outside, and I think it should be a little bit yellowish. I'm going to change that. I'm going to change the color of the light. Yeah, I love it. So I added the glow effect to the girl, and I wanted to add the same. I need to add the same glow effect to the guy. So I just click on the glow effect, hold on the Alt, and I move it over on the other layer. So you can copy the effects. You can copy the effects between layers. The Alt command is universal in Photoshop. You can, if you need to copy something, there is a large chance the Alt will help you to clone or copy. So I have a bunch of layers now. I have a background, I have a foreground, and I have two characters are fighting. I think it is a kind of okay for now. I think I need to add some drop shadow. Photoshop have a built-in drop shadow effect. I don't like it because what it does is just simply adding a contour line, and you can move that contour line around the image. It's not realistic. So I'm doing something else. So I'm going to add a contour line to the girl. I'm going to copy the girl, Control T, and I'm going to flip it vertically. I'm going to match it to the leg here. Alright, so I copy the layer, put it in a position I need to. And I'm going to change the blending mode. Multiply. I'll change the opacity down. So I have a drop shadow for the girl now. And anytime you have something in your mind, you want to add a new picture, you just go to Google or to your archive, bring the image in, crop it, use the lasso tool, copy paste, put it into your environment, and then you can start blending it together. I'm wondering, maybe I should put some people on a background, a crowd. Yeah, we have an attendance sheet. Don't forget, it's here. Please sign it. Attendance sheet is always here. Are you guys doing okay? I know it was kind of intense, but we should start doing photos. We need to have images. Better images. If you only have like 4 or 5 layers, that's still okay. Okay. Do not grab drag and drop images because it's going to turn to a smart layer. It's going to be a smart object. Don't do that. Let me see that. Always open to Photoshop. So let me see. I grab the image. Here is the image. I grab it to Photoshop. It's going to be a smart object. You see that little icon here? That is a smart object. You can't edit the image. Only can if you double click, but it's going to open up a smart object, and it makes it too complicated for now. You can right click and you can rasterize the layer. Then you can do things with it. You can erase, you can copy paste or anything you need to, or you can paint on it. Don't grab images, because if you don't know how to use smart objects, you just get confused. Let me put something in the background. I'm going to put an animal. I'm going to put an elephant. I need a large, high-resolution image, so I go to the Tools, Size, Larger, 2 megapixel. So it's going to filter down my search result. Maybe I go with that one. Alright, so I just right-click. Actually, I'm going to save it. Save image as. I'm going to save it to the desktop. Or downloads. I have the elephant here. I'm just going to crop it. I need to select the background. I need to clear the black background. What tool you would use? What do you guys think? Which tool is make it easier to select the background, the black background? Quick selection tool. Quick selection tool. W on the keyboard or up here. Quick selection tool W. So I click on W and I start teaching the tool. It's like a magic tool. It's keep learning. So I start drawing here, so the tool will understand, okay, I need to select everything is 100% black, or that color combination in the background. And when I click again, it's going to add the same colors and not going to select different colors. So it's a very smart little tool. It's keep learning. So I'm going to select that. And it's still doing mistakes. It's still adding that feet. But just let me to finish it. And I hold on the Alt and I'm taking away. So now it's going to be a really good selection of the elephant. Okay, here is a little more dark. So I just go with a quick selection tool. Quick selection tool. And I'm going to smoothing out the selection. So I go to Select, Modify, Smooth. It's going to add a 1 pixel smooth. It's going to make your line. If you have too much breaks on your contour line. If it's too detailed, it's going to smooth it out a little bit. And I'm going to hit delete. And the only bad part of it is going to give you that little thin line on the edges. For some reason Photoshop is keep doing that, is keep leaving it there. So I'm just going to use the lasso tool, and I'm going to. Now then the rectangular marquee tool is useful. I just select that. Bless you. I just select that area and I erase, delete. I do it on both sides. And this is a speed when you do Photobash. This is a speed when you should work. When you practice Photoshop for a few years, you're going to get to that level. You just click on the keyboard, you just get the tools very quick, and you can put together any kind of images in a few seconds. So I'm going to move that layer below, between the background and the foreground, and I'm going to click on Ctrl T. I'm going to change the size of the elephant. So I'm going to put it somewhere here, and I'm going to flip it horizontally. I want it to come from the right to the left. Maybe it's a little bit too big. Alright, so I put an elephant between the two. So just have a bunch of layers. If you only have like 4 or 5 layers today, it's still okay. Try to create a realistic environment as much as you can. And let me try something to blend together the photos, because each photo have different color settings, different light sources. It just looks a kind of still very fake. We have photo filters. In the layer, if you click on the first layer on your layer panel, and you go to the create new fill or adjustment layer, you're going to see we have photo filters. Photo filter is really not much. It's a color layer. They have presets like warming. And I'm going to change that. And you see how it's going to change the atmosphere. It's going to blend together the photos. So I'm going to add that yellowish fade. Let me see, I turn it off and on. It's adding a little yellowish fade to my image. Let's see what else. That red pant looks a kind of fake. I think I gotta do something with that. I'm gonna do something with that. Let me see what images I have on my website. So the folder is available for all of you if any of you wanted to use something. Anyone knows what is the Spanish tile? No. Spanish tile? Did you guys ever hear that word Spanish tile? No? It's very popular in Florida. Spanish tile is the decoration, the stone decoration in your kitchen or in your bathroom, or it's a tile. And it originates back to the time when the Arabs, they were in control of Spain back to the 1200s, and they created those beautiful patterns in tiles. This is a Spanish tile, but it stayed in a Spanish heritage. So the people are from Spanish heritage. They just know Spanish tile, but it originates back to those geometrical patterns in the Islam architecture. So I think I'm going to fit one of these Spanish tiles on the girl's pant. So download the image and I open. Go to Photoshop. I'm going to open. Okay, and you know what? I'm just going to unlock the layer, and I'm going to grab it. I'm going to move it into my environment. And I'm going to fit it on her pants. I'm going to try something. So I'm going to use the warp tool. What is a shortcut for the warp tool? Who can tell me? What is a shortcut for the warp tool? How do you get to the warp tool?
No.
Huh?
No, I don't know. I did from Control T. I just control.
Control T is the first step. What is the next step? Free transform or Control T is the same, right? Free transform. Free transform is equal to Control T, or if you have an Apple computer, Command T. And what is the next step? If you want to, let's say I click on the Control T. Okay, I'm in a free transform. What is the next step for warp? There is a little button on the top, but I think it's easier if you just right-click. Right-click, and it gives you all the options you can add to the free transform: scale, rotate, skew. I don't use any of that because if you just click on the corners, you can change the size. If you go a little bit further, you see the arrow is changing, the cursor is changing to that double-sided arrow. You can rotate. So you just rotate. I want to put it on her leg. Right-click, warp. This is how you get the warp tool. Warp tool. And I'm going to start squeezing it on her leg, but I can't see the image behind. It's kind of not good. I'm going to change the blending mode. So even you're still in edit mode to changing, warping the image, you can change the blending. I think I'm going to get multiply. And if you click on the arrow on the keyboard, you can change these blending modes. So I'm going to try to find the blending is looking cool. Maybe I'll go with that one. And I'm going to use the warp tool. I'm going to fit that texture on her pants. You can create a very realistic texture on your characters with the warp tool. I'm going to do it in multiple steps. I'm going to add multiple pieces of the texture, and I'm going to blend them together later. First, I'm just adding the first one. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to be very simple today. I just use the erase tool. It's here, or E. The shortcut for erase tool, eraser tool is the E. I'm going to just erase the parts I do not need. So I'm just going to erase. I'm going to erase it on the lower leg because I'm going to add another texture to here. I'm going to pull in that image again. I'm going to change the blending mode first. Not yet. I'm going to just rescale it. And I know I still need to use that texture a few more times. So I'm just going to multiply it a few times, and I'm going to save it. I'll just hide them. First I change the size, I rotate, put it on position, put it over the leg part. And then I change the blending mode. I'm going to find the one I love the most. Really? Can't find the same? divide. Divide was the kind. Okay. And I use a warp tool now. Control T, right click, warp tool. And I'm going to fit it on her leg, try to make it realistic, following the curves of the fabric. Alright, and I'm just simply going to erase the rest of it. Eraser tool, or E on the keyboard. I'm just going to erase. I'll change the opacity of the erase tool. We're going to do a lot of Photobash. We're going to do more and more editing with photos. So this is just the first try. If you think it didn't turn out the way you want, no worry. We're going to have many more. I just wanted to give you an idea of, and I wanted to see the speed. This is the speed you should work, or even quicker. Where I put that nice styling texture on her right leg, I'm going to add it to the other leg. So I saved a few more layers. So I grab the layer, Control T, I'm going to change the size. I'm going to put it on a position. So I'm going to put it on the upper leg, on the other leg. Okay, I'm going to change the blending mode to divide, because that was the blending I used on the other two textures. And I'm going to click on Control T or Edit, Free Transform, right click, Warp, and I start squeezing it. I'm going to fit it on her legs. I'm going to do it in two steps, one on the upper leg, one on the lower leg, and I'm just going to blend them together. It's easier to manage. We don't have enough meshes. We don't have enough mesh lines. We only have that 4x4. If I would add the lower leg, it's going to be just too much. On the same character. Yeah. I think I'm good here. And I just use the eraser tool. I'm going to keep taking away parts I don't need. It's really not complicated if you think about it. It's just a copy-paste, erase. It's like a coloring book almost. But just think about it, how long it would take you to paint this whole image. Drawing the characters, to adding the textures, adding the background, it would take you a few days. here in a few hours you can create a scratch. So just go back to the first part of the class. You have a client. They need someone to create a concept. They're willing to pay that $1,000 to someone to visualize that image they're looking for. They give you some briefings. They give you some ideas. And you have a free hand. You can draw or you can Photobash. You can merge, combine images. In a few hours, you can get over it. Hopefully they like it. All right, I'm going to finish that leg part. I'm going to add another piece. So pick the image, put it in position. Right click, warp tool, change the blending to divide. I'm going to try to capture the waves, the motifs of the background on the pants. I'm going to try to create something realistic. So that was my client's will. They wanted to add that Spanish style motifs, that Islamic geometrical pattern style on the pants. Okay, I'm going to erase. Eraser tool. I could do that with masking. We're going to have another day when we go deeper in the masking techniques. But today I'm just going to try to keep it really simple. We have only one day, right? But you can turn it in till Monday. So if you can't finish it today or you're not satisfied, you want to spend some more time, you can finish it. I'm going to put up this video. Hopefully it's going to work. I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel. I'm going to start sharing. So if you need to look up something you can't remember, you can watch the video. If you're missing my accent, you can anytime look it up. Here we go. So I added some textures on her legs. No texture. Yes, texture. What else? Anyone have any recommendation? What else I should add to it? No? Paint it. I'm going to turn it to a painting. So I'm going to combine together the layers. I could go to the layers and flatten image, but then I'm going to lose the layers, and I don't want that. I want to save them. And there is a shortcut, the Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E. I think it's something you should write down and remember. Ctrl-Shift Alt and E. Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E. Let me demonstrate. Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E. And it's going to create a layer. You see up here? I'm going to turn off every other layers just to see what it does. It's going to be one single layer. It's going to flatten up the whole image, and I can start playing with it. You can release effects. If you're not creative and you just want to do something boring, you can go to the filters and, I don't know, style, filter gallery. And you can go to the filter gallery and you can do something boring. I'm sarcastic because sometimes you can find really cool actually, I'm lying. You can't. These are really boring. You can download some filters are more interesting, but you can. It could be a kind of basics for your painting. You can turn your image into something like a water paper. I don't know. Maybe one of these works for you, and you can start painting. You can turn it to a painting. Let me try. You know what? I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to try to do something with that one. So I just released an effect, glowing edges. This looks like crazy. A little bit. And I'm just going to paint. I'm going to use the brush tool. I just changed Photoshop to the painting interface, and I'm going to paint. I spent like 4 hours last night. I was sitting with videos to studying brushes in Photoshop, and I have a few new ideas in my head.
Can't we use like dragons too?
You can use anything. It should be, try to do something back to history. Some historical background, any part of the earth. It could be a fantasy image. And just create an action concept. Some action happens. Yeah, you can do dragons, you can do anything. And it is due by next Monday, so you still can go to the lab, do some extra work if you need to. So just pick a brush, find it interesting, and I'm going to paint it over. Yep.
So this assignment is due next.
This is due by next Monday. So you still can spend some time with it if you have to.
So it's due for this 30 sketching.
No, don't worry about the sketching. Just put it into the historical container.
press load, I'm gonna have a guy like this. I think he's too big. But like. Liu Kang is technically, Liu Kang is based off it, kind of. There's a character in Never Alive that's on it was martial law. It's also a law.
So as you see, I turned the photo into a painting. In a few seconds, I just paint it over.
Nice sit faster.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good. Let's just sit on this.
Okay.
No, man, what you should do is you have this guy, and then you have Leonidas kick mid kick into the pit. Like it just one guy. Yeah, of course. What do you mean out of control? Very from 300, I remember is one where it was like the next day. And there's like random scenarios and random like that there and like dancing. No. This is separate. This is like separate.
So I'm just adding a final touches. I'm painting over the image. I'm adding my hand drawing on the top of the whole image. So the image is kind of like a guidance. It's a guide. You just put it together in a short time period, and you don't have to think about the anatomy or the character. You really make your life much easier with the photos. So if your client loves your Photobash, your image, you made $1,000 in a less than a day time period. Even if you just make a few $100s, I think it's pretty good hourly rate. If your name is highlighted, I've got to talk to you. To speak, please come to me. What is your name? Okay. That means your grade, something is wrong. Okay. So go ahead and turn it in. Because that was due by today. Okay. So make sure you look up your assignments and the alternate. Okay. I think we don't have too many assignments yet. Yeah, probably if you're missing one or two, it's already give you an ad. It's a kind warning. First warning. Just make sure you turn in your assignment.
And for the sketch, can I just turn it in later on today?
No sketch. You don't have to turn in a sketch.
This one. My bad.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
This one is due by Monday.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you have time for till Monday. Sure. Yeah, next Monday. It's due by next Monday. Yeah.
Alex Baker.
Okay. Probably you missed to turn in some assignments. On the website.
I've been, something went wrong with transfer my new drawing tablet, so I'm having issues trying to get it done.
Yeah, it's just a kind first warning. I want to make sure we are on the same page. You understand that you have to turn in your assignment on the website.
Right.
Just turn it in a few upcoming days.
Okay then.
Cool? All right.
Do we have to color over here?
Painting over the layers. You can merge into one single layer, and you can start drawing painting if you want. You can. If you only turn in an image, if you only turn in a Photobash, a collage with photos, I'm good with that. But if you want to do something extra, you can start painting. You can merge the layers together, Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E, and you can start painting. Because the photos I have not having the same light source, and I wanted to have the light source coming from the left. So I was painting the light source coming on both characters from the left.
So what we can do is like basically paint all the picture again. Like that?
You blend. I mean you flatten the image. It's called flatten or merge.
Where can I find it?
Here on the board. Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E. Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E. It's a very useful key combination. It creates a new layer with a combination of all the other layers.
But how does it look?
So I have a
Is there any
next.